So we find ourselves in the final week of the pool stages at the Rugby World Cup. What that means is we're starting to get a better indication of what various teams need in order to get themselves to a quarter-final. So that's what I'm talking about in this video. There's some really interesting matchups. The fact that a number of pools are still on a little bit of a knife edge, I think, is a great thing. However, and I'll go into this in more detail, I don't feel like there's going to be an upset, unfortunately. I think it is a World Cup that's maybe been lacking a big upset so far, and despite the various permutations, despite a few of the teams that are still gunning for a place in the knockout rounds, I'm not sure we're going to see it this time round, but we'll get into all of that. I'll run through it pool by pool, go through who needs what, and also have a little bit of a discussion about each of those teams as well. Quite a good opportunity to round it all up. So drop a comment down below on who you think is going to get through, what you make of your team's chances, their World Cup so far, etc, etc. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Let's get into it. So starting in Pool A, France, New Zealand, Italy, they've all played 3 games. They are the teams gunning for a quarter-final spot. So France are top at the moment on 13 points, then the All Blacks and the Italians are on 10. New Zealand play Uruguay this weekend, so I think most of us would expect that to be a 5-point win for New Zealand. They'll be on to 15 points. So the second quarter-final spot pretty much comes down to that match between France and Italy. And I don't think there are too many people that will be giving the Italians a chance in this game. They basically need to win in order to go through. If they win and France only get the 1 bonus point, so if both France and Italy end up on 14 points, it would still be the Italians that would go through, because it would come down to their head-to-head against France, and because they would have won that game, they would go through. But if France pick up 2 bonus points, even in defeat, that would most likely be enough if Italy don't get a bonus point, if you see what I mean. So Italy basically need to beat France, and after what we saw against the All Blacks the other night, I just don't know how likely that is going to be. Now, I'll play devil's advocate for just a moment, because as poor as I thought Italy were, and I know that New Zealand were excellent, but I still think the intensity was a little bit lacking from the Italians. I think they will feel more confident of beating France, as strange as that might sound, playing the host nation in their own country, partisan home crowd, all that sort of thing. But purely from a psychological point of view, the fact that Italy, or Italian teams, this Italian team might not have, but Italy as a nation have beaten France before, and they play France more regularly. They play in France more regularly. I think there might have been more of a psychological element when it comes to them having a chance to beat the All Blacks. So I think there's a better chance that they will beat France. But do any of you see it happening? I just don't, unfortunately. I hope it's a tight and tense game, and that it keeps the neutrals, all of us, or most of us anyway, as long as you're not French and Italian watching this, keeps us interested. But unfortunately, from Italy's point of view, I don't think they will have enough, in particular after what we saw the other night. They would have been pretty dejected following 96-17, that scoreline being put on them by the All Blacks. The counter-argument to that could be that we will see a reaction, that they want to right those wrongs. I'm just not sure we're going to see that. So I think it will be France going through as top of the group and New Zealand in second place, which will line up some pretty tasty quarterfinals. Let's get on to Pool B. This is the most interesting pool of the lot, as we suspected that it would be. South Africa, Ireland and Scotland all looking to get themselves to a quarter-final. South Africa have played all 4 of their games. They've won 3 of them. They had that 1 defeat to Ireland, so they're on 15 points. You've then got Ireland on 14 and Scotland on 10. So it's relatively straightforward, this really. South Africa have their feet up and are just watching, waiting to try and see what happens. They're pretty much through, in all honesty, the Springboks. So Scotland need to win, and they need to stop Ireland getting a bonus point, because Scotland would move on to 14. If Ireland get a bonus point, they're up to 15. And if they're both on 14 points, then Scotland would go through because of their head-to-head victory over Ireland. That, for me, is where this is tricky for Scotland. I know they're underdogs for the game. I think they are capable of beating Ireland. It's a tall order with how well this Ireland team is playing and the 16-game win streak, or whatever it is now. There's a reason Ireland are the number 1 team in the world. But I still think Scotland have the talent in that team to cause an upset. I think the problem is preventing Ireland from getting a losing bonus point, or getting some sort of bonus point that could be the thing that is really tricky for them. I'm going to be at this game on Saturday. I can't wait for it. I think the build-up's going to be huge. The pressure, I think, is on Ireland. I think most people, or everyone really, will expect Ireland to win. So Scotland can possibly, from a psychological aspect, try and use that to their advantage. And similar to what I said to the Italy-France game, but actually even more in this case, I just hope we get to the final quarter of the game and the upset is still on. Because I think the whole atmosphere inside the Stade de France, the tension, the nerves, the sort of game we could see, the excitement, again, from my point of view as a neutral, would be absolutely unreal. So that's where I hope we get to. There is also the potential possibility that all teams finish on 15 points. If that does happen, what happens in the pool is it comes down to points difference for who finishes top, and then after that it goes to the head-to-head record. So there is a slight chance that all teams finish on 15 points. Scotland have scored so many points against Ireland that they overturn the points difference, and therefore we could go through top of the pool, and then South Africa might be knocked out because Ireland beat them in that head-to-head matchup. It's really, really unlikely. Frankly, if it happens, it would be extraordinary, but it is a possibility. So that is another permutation that could happen. But a bit like the last pool, as much as I want the excitement and the drama on the final weekend, I think Ireland will beat Scotland. I think they will ultimately have too much for them. They'll go through as group winners, and South Africa will be the runners-up, which means we will have Ireland playing the All Blacks and South Africa meeting France, which are two unbelievable quarterfinals. Again, more from the neutrals' point of view. If you support those teams, you're looking at the other side of the draw, which we'll get onto now, and you're thinking, boy, oh boy, did some of these teams have it easy. So on to Pool C. This is a really straightforward one. Wales are already through. They only need a point in their final game against Georgia to make sure that they qualify as the winners of the pool. And then Fiji only need to pick up a point in their match against Portugal to leapfrog the Wallabies and get themselves into a first quarter-final since 2007. And as bad as this World Cup has been from an Australia point of view, it's a fantastic storyline for Fiji to be back in the quarterfinals with everything they bring to the game. And I think they will do it, Fiji. Not an easy matchup, that, for England whatsoever. So maybe that's something we'll start to preview when we get into next week. But Fiji, I think, will beat Portugal. They'll certainly, I think, get the point they need to be able to jump above the Australians. The ironic thing, maybe cruel thing really here from an Australian point of view, is they have to sit around. Australia have to sit around in France this week. I think the players have been given some time off to be able to spend time with family, get away from camp, go to Paris or wherever they want to head off to, other parts of Europe possibly. But they still have to stay out here just in case Portugal do the unthinkable and beat Fiji and don't let Fiji get any points from the game as well, which to me seems a little bit harsh. I'd imagine a lot of those Wallaby players would quite like to just get on a plane and head back home and rest up. But there we go. I think Wales will do the business against Georgia. They'll head through as pool winners, and Fiji will get through as well, which links back to what I was saying earlier in the video, in that as much as we've got some really interesting games this weekend, I'm just not sure we're going to see the upset that maybe many of us would have been hoping for. If you disagree with me, then you can drop it in the comment section. Just a final word actually on Wales. Similar to England really, I know they're on an easier side of the draw, but given where Wales were not so long ago, particularly looking back to the Six Nations, you had the threat of strike action from the players ahead of the England game in the Six Nations. There's been all sorts of off-the-field issues with the game domestically in the country, and also some awful and very serious allegations within the union itself. Warren Gatland once again has come in and shown why he is the coach that he is and why he has fit in so well at Wales to be able to just steady that ship, get them through this pool, which wasn't a gimme for them, and they have got better as I think the World Cup has gone on, is a testament to him and a testament to that group of players. So I know it's the easier side of the draw, but congratulations to them nonetheless. Let's get on to the final pool. England are already through here as pool winners. This has not been a good pool, and I'll say that as an England fan. Credit to England. They will most likely go through 4 wins from 4. They will have done the job that they needed to, but it hasn't been a good pool. And the permutations here are really simple as well. Argentina play Japan, straight shootout for who goes through in second place. And Argentina and Japan, neither of them have been that good, have they really, this World Cup? Samoa as well, I think, will be disappointed with their performances. I think Argentina, with Michael Cheika, with that group of players who've performed or underperformed at the World Cup, they did beat Australia in the Rugby Championship. They beat England at Twickenham last year. They beat New Zealand last year. It is a squad of players that I think has had enough big game experience and enough wins in big games to know what they need to do and to execute a game plan to get them through this contest. So I think it will be Argentina. Japan, though, we know all about them and World Cup upsets, so maybe they've got another one up their sleeves. I think that is the most likely to be the upset if we are to get there. I don't think we're going to see a huge upset in the Scotland-Ireland game or in Italy-France. Possibly Japan beating Argentina is on the cards, given how poor the Pumas have been this World Cup. But again, I would still probably give the edge to Argentina because of the factors that I just mentioned. So that's what all the teams need. That's where we are heading into this final week of pool fixtures. A pool phase which has dragged a little bit. I know if you're watching this channel, you'll be like me. You love your rugby. You're happy to watch it. But I don't know. I'm not convinced that the pools of 5 particularly work. I think we probably need pools of 4, and then at least each team in the pool is playing each week. But that's probably a discussion for another day. How do you see it shaping up? What do you think the quarterfinal lineup will be? Do you think there could be any upsets this weekend? I don't think so, but I would love it, frankly, if I am wrong. So drop a comment down below. Make sure you like the video as well and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.